Why betrayed spouses blame themselves for the betrayal. There are several reasons why someone who's been cheated on, lied to, hurt, betrayed might blame themselves. And if you're watching this, I want to give you some ideas that can be really, really helpful. I'm Dr. Doug Weiss, and for the last 40 years of my life, I have been face to face with women and some men who've been betrayed. Now, I do find that women process betrayal differently than men, and so this conversation is going to be mostly geared towards women, although I know men who blame themselves as well initially. But why would we in any way take responsibility for someone else's decisions and behaviors? Well, let me back you up. Betrayal doesn't happen in a moment. It takes time to wear someone into that position to betray you. Whether it's pornography, masturbation, flirting, grooming, online stuff, there are literally hundreds or thousands of micro decisions that could have been made differently to keep the betrayal away from you. There were hundreds of times for them to reach out for help or to be honest. There were many times they could have opened their secrets and been healed and encouraged to do better. But they chose to stay in that position for months, years, or decades. That has nothing to do with you. Yet when you get hit with the infidelity, the betrayal, the prostitutes, the other ways that you can be betrayed financially or legally, it's traumatic. It affects your spirit, your soul, and your body, and you're overwhelmed. And so, of course, you're trying to swim in different things here, trying to figure it out. How did this happen to me? That's usually where the question starts, and then it goes into, well, what could I have done different or better? What could I have known that I didn't know? What flags didn't I see? And what happens is when you move it to you, generally you're in the bargaining process of grief. First there's shock, and then there's denial. No, this couldn't have happened, but then bargaining. If this would have happened, then this would not have happened. This big painful event wouldn't be in my life. And so you start to architect your arguments in your mind about, well, if they wouldn't have met, if this didn't happen, if that person wasn't in the office, or if he didn't go to this event, or her, all of that is more about them. But then you start going down the path, well, what if I would have had more of this, done more of that, said more of this, been more of this? And all of a sudden you start putting the reasoning for their betrayal and their choices on your side of the ledger. The problem is you're not the problem. And you were not the problem. Now, I'm not saying there can't be pain in a marriage or in a relationship, but pain can be managed other ways than cheating and betraying. And so what happens when you start putting it on you, it gives you the illusion that somehow you could be in control of the future. It gives you the illusion that, well, if I lost weight, had more sex, I did this act, or I did that, or I was willing to whatever. All of a sudden you have more power about your future. You can say, whoa, if I just do this, this will never happen again. Now, for the last 40 years, I've listened to women and men who've been betrayed. And some of them have gone down that path of trying to be better and different, and they still got cheated on again. So you trying to blame yourself to give you some sense of control or some sense of outcome is not going to guarantee you outcome at all. Because let me speak very candidly and honestly, working with over 5,000 people, most who've experienced betrayal, most of it infidelity, and you are not responsible for the person's choices whatsoever. Okay? Whether you're going through grief and trying to figure it out, that's normal. Whether you're trying to find some way to solve the problem, and it might be that you're trying to stay in the situation, and so you're trying to rationalize what you can do to make this work so it doesn't happen again. Now, working with couples, and if you're in this situation, come to heart, do a 5-day intensive. Deal with the trauma that you've been through. Do the neuromodulation for you if you're the wife or the husband who's been cheated on. It can help you heal physiologically as well as do the counseling process. Deal with the hurt, deal with the anger, deal with the grief, have boundaries. And you can set up something like a polygraph to verify that you know the truth. You can set up a polygraph to verify they're not communicating with them, that they're not acting out with another person. And you can hedge your bet that in the future it is being managed, but it's not being managed because of what you have to do. You set up a structure so that the integrity is being assessed, and then you can actually heal and you can relax. I can't tell you how many, literally over 1,000 women and some men who they just didn't know what was the truth. And they're like, it's like doing life's treading water. Everything's harder and it takes more energy because you always have this kind of app open about wonder what else. You can find out what's true. You can move forward. You can heal. And I've seen thousands of couples heal. Okay, I've seen situations where a person may not want to change and you can't change that. You're powerless over your spouse. You're powerless over their choices. But what you're not powerless over is your healing. So if you have been betrayed, there's a partner betrayal trauma book. There's the partner recovery from his addiction book. There's groups. There's counseling. Call 719-278-3708. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It's a chapter. And if you do your self-care, you do your healing, you do the counseling that you need to do in this chapter, it will make a better future for you regardless of their choices. And if they want to stay in a relationship, if you heal the person who betrayed, the person who has been betrayed and the relationship all at the same time, your progress and prognosis is so much better. So I want to encourage you, if you've been betrayed, your pain's real. Your world is upside down. Your past is different, your present is different, and your future is different. Nothing's the same and nothing is stable. So you trying to figure it out is normal. You blaming yourself is not reality. It's not truth, even if they're telling you that's why they did what they did. It's not why they did what they did, okay? They did what they did because it was their choice to do that. They had other choices. They could have separated. They could have done counseling. They could have found out what's going on with them that is moving them in this direction. So many options available. You're not to blame. And if you can take yourself off that track, you can start to really do some incredible healing. I've seen it thousands and thousands of times. I'm Dr. Doug Weiss. I want the best for you. If you haven't subscribed, please, we have so much about infidelity, sexual addiction, and partner betrayal trauma on our channel. It can be really super helpful. If you got a question, put it in the box. We want to hear and get to it as soon as possible. And until next time, take an active step for yourself to heal.